Mokume is a first-year college student and a cult fanatic. She hunts down an older student, Kugutsu, who is rumored to attract urban legends of all kinds. What will happen when she joins the Occult Club? The long-awaited occult comedy from the creator of Janji, Kazuki Hiraoka. So yeah, hello and welcome to another Manga Spotlight. Today's series is The Urban Legend Files. It is a supernatural horror comedy, and the basic gist is a girl who's obsessed with urban legends befriends a guy who is a magnet for urban legends. So we start off with our female main character. Her name is Mokume, and she's going to a brand new university. And right now they're doing the whole situation where they're trying to get the new students, the freshmen, to join their clubs. And one of them says, hey, like, we're the travel club. Would you be interested in joining? We do a bunch of traveling stuff. And her first response is, do you do stuff like explore haunted villages? When you go snowboarding, do you also look for cryptids in the mountains? And they're just kind of like, what the hell is this lady talking about? And it turns out that this is a girl who is obsessed with urban legends. Back when she was in 5th grade, she wanted to meet the slit-mouthed woman, which is one of my favorite urban legends ever. Basically, she's a Japanese urban legend. It's a tall woman with a face mask, and she'll ask you if you think she's pretty. And if you say yes, she'll pull down her mask, revealing her mouth, which is slit open. She'll ask you again, do you still think I'm pretty? And if you say yes, she slices your mouth open. And if you say no, she just stabs you to death. But yeah, Mokume is obsessed with meeting this slit-mouthed woman. And so every day she would wander around her home trying to find the slit-mouthed woman, but she only ever met a big baby. And we just see this giant baby saying mommy. I'm just like, okay. And since then, she has just become more and more obsessed with urban legends. She's a huge fan of like the occult, supernatural, cryptoids, all that kind of stuff. This is a girl after my own heart, actually. And she decides to join this university because this university has a occult club. And not only does it have an occult club, but they have pictures on their website where it looks like they have spotted a bunch of supernatural entities and cryptoids and stuff. So she's hugely fascinated with this. And so she goes to join the club when she meets Gansuke. And she believes that Gansuke is a Hibagon. A Hibagon is pretty much the Japanese equivalent of Bigfoot or a Yeti. And this becomes a running joke where not only does she mistake him for a Hibagon, but other people start mistaking him for Hibagons as well. But it's funny because he's like, how did you find out about us? And she's like, oh, I found out on the club socials. And he's like, oh, that's interesting. Like, our posts usually only get 1 like. And she's like, oh, that's for me. He's like, oh, okay. And she's like, if your posts are true, then you guys met some amazing things. Like kappas and skyfishes and all this stuff. How do you do that? And Gansuke explains that our club had a super freak who could attract urban legends. His name is Kugutsu. And basically, wherever he went, supernatural things would just happen. It's like they're drawn to him. And it was awesome. But unfortunately, he left the club months ago because he's not a fan of supernatural stuff. He's not a fan of scary things. So he didn't want anything to do with us. So now our club pretty much just meets for drinks, and that's kind of it. We don't do anything supernatural because we don't have our magnet around anymore. So she's like, okay, well, what if I can convince him to join the club? He's like, well, go for it if you can do that. So she goes to try to find him, and she basically finds him in the cafeteria, and he is the personification of poor. Like when we see him, he's doing the cliche thing where he's getting bread crusts, and he's what you get for free, and he's dipping them into bean sprout soup to eat. So basically the only thing he can afford is the soup itself, and he's just getting free bread. So that's pretty much what his life is like. His life is just that he's poor. So she looks at him, she's like, wow, I can tell just by looking at you. Your eyes are the vacant eyes of someone awash in curses. You must have been through a lot. He's like, nah, I was just playing mahjong till morning and lost 20,000 yen and I haven't slept. So that's pretty much how he tries to get money, by gambling. And that's why he's also poor, because of gambling. And she tries to convince him to join the club again. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't like occult stuff. I only joined because I owe the club leader some money. Otherwise, I wouldn't have joined otherwise. And now that debt is paid off, I'm done. So I'm going to go play some pachinko. Mokume knows just how to grab his attention. She says, man, I have this 5,000 yen Amazon gift card all to myself then. And he immediately turns around and sits back and he's like, all right, we can talk. It's my job to help a freshman out anyways, right? And she explains her story about how she wants to meet the slit-mouthed woman. And so he's like, all right, I guess I can walk with you around the city at night for a little bit, as long as if you give me that gift card. She's like, okay. And so they're walking around the city. They go to a place where an old man walking his dog apparently saw a tall woman wearing a coat. And suddenly the woman removed her mask and started chasing this dude. And of course, Kugutsu was just like, could have just been a couple having a fight. And she's like, no, it's the slit-mouthed woman. I know it for sure. And then we get just more of Mokume's background about how she didn't have any friends as a kid. She was shy and introverted. She never got along well with others her age, so she would have to make games up for herself. And one of the games that she would do is she would steal her mom's smartphone, dial random numbers, and try to reach Mary-san. And for anyone who doesn't know that story, it's basically the story. Usually it deals with the girl who throws away her doll named Mary. And one day she gets a phone call, and the phone call just says, hi, my name is Mary. I'm at the park right now, and then hangs up. And she keeps calling and keeps saying, my name is Mary, and she'll give a location. And the location becomes closer and closer and closer and closer to the caller until eventually you get a call, and the call says, hello, it's Mary. I'm standing right behind you. And that's how the story ends. So as a kid, Mokume would constantly call random numbers hoping to contact Mary. But instead, she just got random people. And she starts screaming all of a sudden in the middle of the story because she sees the slit-mouthed woman. And of course, Kugutsu's like, calm down. That could just be an overworked office worker. Mokume's like, no, that's not an office worker. That's the slit-mouthed woman for sure. Let's go talk to her. And of course, Kugutsu's like, well, what do we do? Like, do you have any ideas? Because she's getting closer to us. And Mokume's like, don't worry, I didn't come empty-handed. The slit-mouthed woman's favorite food is hard candy, so I brought a ton of it. And she brings like hard candy acrylic stands, hard candy scented aroma, hard candy plushie, just a bunch of hard candy. And also an Amazon gift card as insurance. And then Kugutsu immediately responds with, Amazon gift cards sure are handy, huh? Which just makes me think, did Amazon sponsor this chapter? Because there's a lot of Amazon gift cards and how great they are in this chapter. But Kugutsu's like, all right, so we just got to do hard candy, right? And we'll be fine. And Mokume's like, well, it depends because legends change, so who knows? And the slit-mouthed woman appears, says, am I pretty? And Mokume says, don't answer her, she'll kill you, regardless of what you say. And I've already told the story earlier. So Mokume's like, excuse me, I got all this stuff. Would you like some? And the slit-mouthed woman looks, and then she picks the acrylic standee, and she just kind of looks at it for a moment, and then she turns back and asks, am I pretty? And no matter what they try to do to distract her, she keeps saying, am I pretty? So eventually, Mokume's like, well, I have one thing that should be a weakness to the slit-mouthed woman. It's pomade. But if she sees it, she'll run away, though. And I think we should use it as a last resort because I don't want her to run away. But Kugutsu's like, pomade, give me that. And then he just grabs it and he gives it to the slit-mouthed woman. She just starts stabbing it. Kugutsu starts crying because he's like, that gift card isn't worth it anymore. I want to get the hell out of here. So he goes to try to run away when the slit-mouthed woman stops him once again and keeps asking, am I pretty? And his only response is, how about later? Can I tell you later? I need time to think before I answer. So can I get your contact information or something? And the slit-mouthed woman kind of stares at him. And then she holds out her phone. And she's basically wants to get his deets. So there's a QR code. So Mokume's like, all right, Kugutsu, get out your phone and get her contact info. So he does. And then she texts him with a sticker that just says, am I pretty? And I'm just like, all right, that's a fantastic way to deal with the slit-mouthed woman. Is to just say, I can't answer you right now. Can you give me your contact information? I'll tell you later after I think about it for a bit. And then all of a sudden she gets run over by a guy on a motorcycle. And then the ambulance shows up, and the ambulance asks her, like, hey, are you doing okay? How are you? Just stay with me here. And the slit-mouthed woman asks the ambulance, am I pretty? And he says, yeah. And then she pulls out on her mask, revealing her face. And then Mokume gives Kugutsu the gift card. After that, she makes a promise that she's going to stick with Kugutsu until he graduates. And he's just like, oh, man, I attracted a dangerous one here. And from then on, it basically becomes Mokume bribing Kugutsu with money to get him to do things to find supernatural entities. And the club eventually gets involved as well. So we have Yuko, she's the club president. She's kind of like the heart of the club, I guess you can say. Like, she's very lively, she's very talkative, outgoing. She's a people person. And then we got Gansuke, who is kind of the comic relief, but not in a way where he's cracking jokes or anything, but more of he's kind of like the more serious character of the group, but just comedy kind of happens to him, mostly because a lot of people mistake him for being a Hibagon. And then we have one of my favorite characters. Her name is Kasume, and Kasume looks like a ghost. And people constantly freak out because they think that this is actually a ghost, and it's just a girl with long hair that she uses to hide her face. But there's like a funny moment where they show like a club photo to Mokume, and they're like, hey, we caught a ghost on this. And Mokume's just kind of looking at it, and she's like, which one's the ghost? And she's like, oh, well, the one doing bunny ears in the background has got to be Kasume. So I guess the ghost is the girl up front. And Kasume's like, no, that's me. The ghost is the one in the back doing the bunny ears. So yeah, it's just, we got a bunch of like crazy comedy with this group. It's freaking hilarious. I love how we're taking like popular supernatural characters and even unpopular supernatural characters and cryptoids and stuff, and just doing jokes with them, like just having new twists on the characters. And I just love the fact that it's basically just this poor bastard who doesn't want anything to do with the supernatural or horror or anything like that. He just wants to live his life in peace. But he keeps drawing all this supernatural stuff to him like a magnet. And so he's forced to go along with all these adventures because he needs money. And Mokume is like, I'll pay you to stay in the club, and I'll pay you to do things that will attract supernatural entities. And he has no other choice because he's poor. And that's pretty much the gist of the Urban Legends files. It's freaking hilarious. I love it so much. It is one of my favorite ongoing series at the moment. And I'll leave a description down below where you can read it for yourself. But I highly recommend checking it out if you're a fan of like supernatural stuff, you're a fan of Urban Legends. If you want a good comedy, this is definitely it. It's awesome. The characters are hilarious, and I love them. And yeah, this is a really good series. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.